segment of the show was actually recorded a couple of days before the release of the full list for the PlayStation Classics, and we wanted to discuss whether or not having the list was concerning for us. Obviously, this video got immediately outdated, but I figured I'd upload it anyway, just so we can have some laughs about how blind we were to what was coming, and you never know, we might actually have made some good points. So hopefully you stick around and watch it, even though really it doesn't mean anything anymore. Still no PS1 Classics announcements for Sony. Let's go into that as a topic. See, Suave, this is what happens. I get into these ideas. I have these ideas for topics, and I just don't think they're interesting. And it's, of course, somebody brings it up in chat, and now I'm suddenly interested in talking about it. Does it concern anybody? We're going to jump topics here. Does it concern anybody that the news of the PS1 Classic has been out for a while, and we have no word on what the other 15 games are? Is that concerning to anybody, or should I say anybody else? Because that worries me. I don't know if they're waiting for the Game Awards to say something, but that's the beginning of December. That's a long way off. And if you wait for the Game Awards, you have missed Black Friday. It is a little concerning to me that they haven't said what is going to be on that system. I don't know if I am a doomsayer. So my biggest concern is that they don't know what games they want to put on the system. I doubt that is the case. Or that they know what games they want to put on the system, but they're still securing licensing.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to
Shadow, what is that? X511? Shadow X511. Thank you for the follow. It is, because they didn't mention Jet Moto. I didn't plan on buying a PS1 Classic anyway. Autumn, I'm not planning on it just because the price is a little ridiculous. But I can't lie and say that I don't want one. I just know that I'm not planning on buying one. It doesn't concern me, but I bet it concerns a whole mess of people. It just worries me a little bit that there's no word on what is going to happen with this system. Although I think they're saying $100. I think it's supposed to be $99.99. You know, because $100 for 20 games. If it's a good 20 games, maybe, but we don't know. We just don't know. And of course, if you can hack it and put more ISOs on there, then it's fine. Unqualified Gamer, what's going on? No plans to buy it. I have no plans to buy it at retail price. Depending on the 15 games and whether or not you can hack it, I have no plans to buy it at all. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to see it succeed. I would love to see this succeed. I would love to see the PlayStation come out exactly like the SNES and NES Classic came out. Little tiny collectible systems with great games already on it, and Nintendo and Sony does nothing about adding more games. that is, to me, the ultimate system to have at home. Even with that feature, $100 is a little high. And of course, because it's not coming with the DualShock controller, we can't have Ape Escape, but that's a whole nother set of problems. Remember our excitement when we were comparing and guessing what would be on it? Good times. Well, Dragoon Knight, we still get to ask. We still get to sit around and compare and talk about what games are going to be on it because they haven't said it. And maybe that's why they're holding off. That's the thing that I'm trying to tell myself to make myself feel better about it. That maybe they're holding off on it because they want people to keep up with the hype. They want people to keep speculating about what games are going to be on there. You know, Sony could say a little something and say, "Oh, remember these games?" And then the fever, the what's the word? The fervor comes back, and then people, oh my god, they're talking about this game out of nowhere. They're talking about Jet Moto. Jet Moto is going to be on the system. You know, and one person's going to be happy about it. Mark. NES, yeah, the SNES, no, the NES was 60. The SNES Classic was 79.99. Yeah, SNES Classic was 80. Medieval 1 and 2. Play all the PS1 games on the PS. Well, yeah, remember, Unqualified, when if you have access to this, you got to remember that the market for these classic systems is people who most likely got out of gaming a while ago and would now like to either take a dip back in to go and relive their classics or introduce these things to their kids. If you are the kind of person who is up to date on the technology, if you've got a PS3 and a PS4 and a PS TV and you still got your old games and your old systems and everything is hooked up and everything still works, then this is not marketed towards you. This is, you're a collector, so they're going to market it towards you in that sense. But the intended audience is people who do not have that access, and this is an easy way for them to get it. You know, the Super Nintendo and Nintendo Classics were the same exact thing. They were not marketed to people who say, oh, well, I still own every game. I got a collection full of those games. And I go, okay, then this isn't for you. Then you have access to play these games. So why are you freaking out? Get out of my living room. But yeah, that's who this is for. Those classic systems, that's who this is for. Unless you're talking about that new Intellivision system. The Amica Intellivision supposed to be doing. We talked about it in Intellivision. Intellivision announced that they were going to do some sort of a classic system, but apparently it's not. It's like some sort of I want to research more information before I talk about it. But it's this weird sort of like it's essentially a new system with the Intellivision branding. It's very strange. I'd rather be like, who are you? Get out. The hype for the Neo Geo Mini died the minute we found out the stick is analog and not micro switches, as well as I think the hype died for the Neo Geo when it, in all honesty, I don't know, it's priced a little high. It's a little screen I didn't need. I would have rather had the little mini Neo Geo with little controllers that came out and hooks right to the TV. I didn't need a little screen and a little tiny joystick. If I want a tiny little screen and a tiny little joystick, I'll play Q*bert all day. This works, by the way. We played this on stream once. It was hilarious. Yeah, some great games on the PS1 have yet to be put on the PSN. Yeah, and that's but that's just it. Yeah, a gamer. As far as that, that's my biggest issue with that, is that those mini systems are not made for the people who have all of that stuff still, who know, because yeah, you can buy them for $5 a pop on a PSN, even assuming that all of the games from the PS Mini are on the PSN. Even assuming that they're all there, you would also need a system to play those games on. That's why. So at $100, and that's why the $100 price tag is not for me, but it may work for other people. I'll ask you this. You can answer me in chat. If I want to play, assuming that all the games on the PlayStation Mini are in the PlayStation Network, if I want to play those games, what do I need? Think about that. Remember, you're talking about selling the PlayStation Classic to someone who has gotten out of video gaming. If they want to go and play those 20 games again, what do they need? They need this. They need a system that accesses the PlayStation Network, and then they need to pay $5 a game for 20 games. That's well over $100. Money. Oh, later, Lady Foxheart. Have a good one. Gonna die a lot in Zelda. Castlevania 3 is being remade by Netflix. Yeah, see, well, we already knew that the show was out, Shadow. But yeah, season 2 came out today. I just haven't watched it yet. What do you mean? It's the same thing. What do you mean, Mendez? What is the same thing? I mean, a PS2 you can get for a bag of potato chips. Does the PS2 access the PlayStation Network? That's why, and that's my whole point with that, is that if you want to play those games, what do you need? You can't talk about it as somebody who already has a large collection of stuff. You have to talk about it from the perspective of somebody who, for whatever reason, has gotten out of gaming, and now they would have to buy everything all over again. You know, you would still need the system. You still need things that work. And then again, you're talking about having it look exactly like it did before without any kind of HDMI upgrades. Because that's another thing that you have to add. You have to throw in a graphics converter. You have to throw in the little $40 box, the cheapest one that they sell, that you plug in your component cable, your wires, and then your composite. That you plug in your composite wires, and then you get an HDMI signal out, because you're also hooking this up to a modern TV. Remember, you're talking to people who have gotten out of gaming. Other than gamers, nobody has a CRT in their house. I think my TV has composite cables. I'm not even sure. Yeah, all PS2 services. So you can't use a PS2. You got to use a PS3. And from GameStop still selling PS3 for like $120. Yeah, it just I like for people to understand when they say stuff like that. When they say, "Oh, well, I could just have this and that," and it's okay, that's not for you. That's you're not the market that they're intending to sell it to. They are intending to sell it to people who don't have any of that stuff. And in order for them to have access to the games that they're offering you, you would need a ton of stuff. And so I understand that. I feel for him because I have a PS Vita. Right, I've looked for a PS Vita. I can't find one. Yawn. Gamers are a growing breed. Sadly, most TV makers are not catching on. Yep. We need modern TVs with modern features and maybe some old ports. I mean, HD Retrovision makes some great cables, but I don't think they make HDMI scalers or switchers or whatever you call it. Dragon Knight, we're still part of the market, absolutely. So which is totally fine to say, okay, well, I have no interest. Like as a streamer, I have a high vested interest in the NES and SNES classics. I have an interest in the at-game systems. I have an interest in all of that stuff. Because the simple fact that they're HDMI output makes it more accessible to use as a device on the stream. Right off the bat, there are features that it offers that function for me. So I'm not saying that we are to be ignored completely. There is still stuff for us. It's just there are certain arguments that we don't get to use that we do use and we shouldn't be using because those arguments don't apply to everybody. I'll give you a weird example. I'll give you a very odd example. Makeup YouTube channels. I have no reason to watch a makeup YouTube channel. I'm already fabulous. But to sit there and say, well, that's stupid. That there's no need for YouTube makeup channels because it doesn't apply to me. That's ridiculous because there are millions of people who that benefits. This is sort of the same situation. For multiple reasons, those things don't apply to me. But that is not to say that the bulk of people out there it also does not apply to. It probably applies to more people than people it does not. That whole discussion got away from me, but PS Vita offer. I don't like Autumn. I don't like buying stuff online. I avoid buying stuff online as much as I possibly can. I have looked at conventions for them and stores. And I see them all the time, and they're $150 and $200, and I just that is not there's not enough value in there for me to pay that much money for it. I got a P4 Golden. Ooh. We're about to go Super Saiyan on the topic. Try Goodwill. Oh, Animus. I frequent a couple of Goodwill stores multiple times a week. PS Vitas are actually very uncommon to come by. I think it's still too new to come by. I come across PSPs all the time. Game DSs. I've seen multiple DSs, 3DSs every once in a while. I see. Why do you not like buying online? I honestly just prefer to support stores, and I like having a place to send something back, or to take something back if it's not working properly. I don't like the idea of getting something and mailing it back, and it's too much of a hassle. I'm at depending on, for most things, I would rather go without than specifically buy online. You know, when I talk about me retro hunting for video games, I could just go to eBay and buy. There's probably every video game for sale on eBay right now. I could just go and buy them on eBay. But I don't like doing that. I like going places and meeting people and hunting for those things myself. Getting a PSP just to have this guy at 2, then a focus on the Switch. Goodwill seemed like a gamble. Yeah, but you know what, Aqua? Goodwill seems like a gamble, but I'll take the gamble because if it doesn't work, I have a place I can take it back to. And with the Goodwill, I know what I'm getting. And let's face it, I have bought some things from Goodwill that have worked on varying degrees, but the price is so ridiculously low. I have a copy of Sunset Riders for the Super Nintendo that I paid $5 for. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to buy physical over the internet. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just Path of Radiance. Hold my beer. You couldn't buy. I think, Latimer, I suspect that every NES game is on eBay right now. I would be hard pressed, other than the stuff like Cheetah Men. You know what I mean? The ultra rare stuff. What was it? Cheetah Men 2. The NES tournament editions. Oh, hold on. We lost it again. We lost it. Did we lose it? Did we lose it? We're back. We're back. We're back. Price. Latimer, I'm not talking about price. I'm talking about availability. If I have all the money in the world, I can go online and buy every NES game that I want. But it defeats the purpose of getting to go places and meet people and buy things. Yeah, we lagged. We're good, though. That's a perk with Goodwill. When you do find what you're looking for, it can be bought at a cheap price.